Okay, so before we start this video off, I just want to ask, what the hell is that? Anyway, so the game we're discussing today is Cyber Speed, which, if you didn't know, is sort of like an anti-gravity Wipeout-esque racing game. Fun fact, this actually came before Wipeout. Um, so yeah, you could say Wipeout copied this. I mean, I'm sure there's probably games that are way older in the in the anti-grav racing genre, but this came before Wipeout. Yeah, it's called, as I said, it's called Cyber Speed. It's released on PlayStation in North America initially on the 15th of September 1995. Us Europeans got it on the 15th of December the same year, and it wasn't released in Japan until the 9th of August 1996, so nearly a year after the original release. It also did get a PC release in 1995. And it was developed by the Illinois-based Mindscape International, who are sadly no longer with us. So I thought I'm going to actually do these videos properly now. So I thought, what better way to do it than actually, write down points of things I want to talk about, rank, whatever, and then do the tier list ranking right at the end, as usual. So, we're going to talk about the graphics, the controls, the handling, sound effects, soundtrack, story/career mode, and then I'll give my final vote. So, graphics. I mean, as far as early PS1 games go, it's pretty average. I mean, it's what you'd expect. It's not, I wouldn't say it's revolutionary. Again, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't as pretty as Ridge Racer or Motor2 Grand Prix. It did look noticeably worse than both of those. And I'm playing on an emulator in 1080p, so it should look better than it did. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't awful, but the textures just weren't great, basically. So graphics wise, compared to the other two games I've played, it's probably the worst graphics wise. But gotta bear in mind, Motor2 Grand Prix was produced by Sony, which was a huge company in the electronics world. Ridge Racer was made by Namco, which was a huge company in the video game world. Both of those companies had huge budgets. Mindscape just probably didn't have as big of a budget, which would explain why the graphics aren't as good. So I'm not going to judge them too harshly for that. But yeah, they are noticeably worse. The controls. The controls are pretty straightforward. I mean, X is to accelerate, as you'd expect, but that's pretty much where the regular racing game controls end. So obviously there's combat in this game. You can shoot the other racers to slow them down. Don't think you can destroy them. I think, like I said, it is literally just to slow them down. But so you press square to shoot the other racers, and then you press triangle to reverse if you need to. And then the right trigger, excuse me, the right trigger changes the camera view. There's basically like three third person views and then like a first person view. So it's 4 camera views, which isn't too bad. What else we got? And then the left trigger is the thrust button, so it's like a temporary speed boost sort of thing. You only get 4 of them in the whole race, and it doesn't regenerate. So once you run out, that's it. You can't use them again. And then you've got the bumper buttons. The left bumper. The left bumper rotates the ship 180 degrees. I mean, I didn't really understand that, but I think it's probably something to do with so you can shoot the people behind you and slow them down, I guess. I mean, yeah, probably something else. I guess you flip it around reverse and then shoot them. That makes sense. And then the triangle button is supposed to be like a missile lock, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. And then the right bumper did something. And then the left analog stick, or D-pad or whatever you're using, controlled the tilt levels of the ship. So as you can see in the video, you don't steer as such. It follows this line on the track. So it's actually impossible to leave the track. But then what you can do, you can basically tilt the ship left and right to sort of go round slow traffic to overtake. So you can even like go to the left, go to the right, you can go fully upside down and go over the top of them. But you do have to be careful of that because there are sometimes low bridges that you will hit if you're upside down. So you have to be wary of that. And then that again brings me on to the handling aspect of the game. It's weird. It's very weird because obviously in a racing game you're used to like driving the vehicle on a track. Like even in Wipeout, you still have control of the vehicle. Like you can still basically go wherever you like and you can fall off the track and whatever. In this you can't. Like I said, you're fixed to this red line that goes above the track. And all you control is the speed and how much tilt angle you have. The car actually, well, the ship technically drives itself around the track. As long as you're accelerating, the car will drive itself around the track and will never crash, basically. Obviously, until you come to a slow vehicle, then you have to sort of tilt round them. Otherwise, you'll just go straight into the back of them and slow down. But that's obviously where the shooting aspect comes in. You can slow them down, and then you've got the thrust as well, which gives you a significant speed boost, which you can use to overtake them. But yeah. And then as for with regards to the like actual like game itself, like the content. So from what I counted, there's 8 playable characters. All of the characters represent a different country, so kind of like a World Cup sort of thing. And they all drive a different ship, which supposedly has different characteristics. I drove a few, and I'm going to be completely honest, I couldn't really tell the difference between any of them. Handling wise, anyway. I mean, maybe if I played it a lot, I might be able to tell the difference, but quick glance, there's not really a huge difference. I don't really know why you'd pick one over the other, unless I guess you preferred the look of the ship. That's the only reason you'd pick one. Or if you really, really hate a certain country, you might not pick that one. Anyway, and then there is 10 tracks, which, to be fair, the track design is decent. The vehicle design is different. They all look different. I like how they've actually modelled the characters as well. I mean, it is just a graphic photo of them, like a picture, but still, they all look different. And I love how they've got ages as well. Like, it tells you how old they are. Like, that matters for some reason. And I love the after race cutscenes you get, because it's like, obviously the game is like, let's set up like a TV show. So obviously the Cyberspeed Championship on TV, and then you have the commercial breaks. Those space flakes, the cereal, looked absolutely horrendous. Yes, there was a commercial in the game for Space Flakes cereal. That's what you deal with this game. You have adverts in the game. That's what you get with this. But they're funny. They're non-serious. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool idea for a loading screen. Just have like a commercial. I saw 3 different commercials. They were different every time. I mean, I guess eventually they probably will start repeating, but yeah, as far as I can tell, they're all pretty decent. They're all unique. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, so there's 3 game modes. You've got race, free race, and time trial. Time trial's pretty self-explanatory. You just have to drive around the track, basically set your best lap time, whatever. Free race is you pick a character, pick a track, and then that's it. And then normal race mode, you pick the character, but you don't pick the track. So I don't know if the normal race mode is like kind of like the game's idea of a career mode, but I did the race 3 times and it just did the same race over and over again. But thinking about it, I didn't win the race. And I'm guessing if you win the race, then you'll progress to the next one. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't play the game for that long. But I guess that makes sense in my head that you can't progress until you win the race, or at least get a podium, because the highest I finished was 4th, I think. So yeah, you might at least be able to get a podium. I did try the free race mode where there's 2 track, like you can actually choose the track, but all of them bar 2 were locked. So I thought, okay, maybe it's the same with the free race mode, or maybe when you unlock the track in the normal race mode, it becomes available in the free race mode. I don't know how it works. Um, but yeah, that's just pretty much as far as it goes for actual gameplay. And then you've got a lot of options like audio and control layouts. There's different control layouts and stuff, but I just use the default one. Um, as regards to sound effects, I mean, it's pretty generic. Just spaceship sounds, pew pew sounds when you shoot the laser thing, a rocket sound effect when you use the thruster, and some music, some like upbeat electronic music. I mean, it was pretty standard stuff. You know, nothing really spectacular. I mean, all the ships sounded the same, but then again, they're spaceships, so I don't really think it matters. I mean, they don't exist. It's not like they can record an actual spaceship, is it? So, um, yeah, I think given the how it is, but yeah, um, and yeah, like I said, the soundtrack. I mean, it's just generic, electronic music. Nothing really stand out. I mean, some of it was quite intense. It did make me feel intense. So I think music wise, it's decent. I mean, it's kind of on par with Ridge Racer. I mean, I think the Ridge Racer soundtrack is more iconic, but again, I think that's just because the game itself is so much more well known. Um, but yeah, the soundtrack wasn't bad. It was fine. Um, and then yeah, story career mode. I mean, there isn't really one as such. I mean, there was like a cutscene at the very start of the game, but I don't know if that's just like an intro sequence. I don't know if it's actually a cutscene because none of the characters spoke, and there was no other cutscene. So I don't know if there is a story as such. I mean, maybe there's like some background lore as to who the people actually are, what the Cyberspeed Championship actually is. I don't know. Um, but yeah, for the most part, there was like an intro sequence, and then obviously the commercials after each race. That was pretty much it, cutscene wise. There was no actual talking other than the guy on the commercial. Um, but yeah, honestly, I did quite enjoy this game because it's got a very unique driving aspect where the ship kind of drives for you. You just need to help it out a bit. So the ship steers for you. You just have to. Do you know what it's like? It's kind of like those games where the car drives by itself. You just have to change the lane. Do you know the old mobile game like Traffic Racer or whatever it was called? That one. It's kind of that sort of thing. Like the car drives itself, but you have to change the lane. If you don't, it'll just crash and you'll fail. That's what it felt like. But obviously, instead of changing lanes, you sort of rotated rather than switching lanes. Um, but my God, this game is intense. This has the one thing that Motor 2 Grand Prix didn't have. I actually wanted to do well on this game. I actually genuinely enjoyed it. Like it was so much fun. I didn't play it for very long, but I am seriously considering getting an actual copy of this game for myself, my actual PlayStation, because it's so intense. It's in the same vein as Ridge Racer, like, but then unlike Ridge Racer, it doesn't feel unfair because the later races in Ridge Racer, as I said, they are so ridiculously difficult to the point it actually feels impossible. Like you don't actually think it's possible because it is so hard. But this game, I mean, in its defense, I did only do 2 races, but it did actually feel like I could do it, but I had to do it properly. And the rotating mechanic takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's so satisfying. And then obviously you've got to time your thrusts right, because if you use them all straight away, you're not going to be able to use them for the rest of the race. Or if you don't use them enough, you're not going to be able to use all of them. So you've got to time it right. So I mean, I guess I'd recommend saving all of them for like the last half of the race. Um, but yeah, this game definitely way better than Moto 2 Grand Prix. Moto 2 Grand Prix is prettier, but this is way more fun. Way more fun. Um, yeah, I haven't played Wipeout. I do actually have a Wipeout game. I bought my first Wipeout game about 6 months ago. Haven't played it yet, but I do have one. So I can't compare it to Wipeout yet, but obviously Wipeout will come up on this series at some point. So as for ranking, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm going to put this in A tier with Ridge Racer. That's a very bold claim, I admit. But genuinely, I had a lot of fun with this game. It's very intense. Every time, if you do well, it feels like it's down to your skill, not just the game being broken. And, you know, it felt rewarding when you won. It made you want to do better, which is the one thing Moto2 Grand Prix didn't do. And that's why I love this game and Ridge Racer so much, because they encourage you to do better. They want you to do better, and you feel better about yourself as a human if you do better. Moto2 Grand Prix couldn't give a shit if you came last. These two don't. That's why they're both in A tier. But yeah, if you haven't played this, give it a try. Genuinely give it a try. If you like Wipeout, I imagine this would be very similar. But honestly, that mechanic of the rotating thing is so unique and so different. It's worth it just for that. Because it takes a bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's really fun and really rewarding. So I do suggest giving Cyberspeed a try, either a physical copy or an emulation, whatever you need. Do give it a try, because it's such a good game. It's so fun. It's a really good time waster. You know, you got half an hour spare, do a couple of races, you know, you'll forget about all the world's problems. You know, and if you find Ridge Racer too difficult, go to this. You know, it gives you the same sort of like arcade buzz as Ridge Racer, but without the insane difficulty curve. The only reason I haven't ranked it higher than Ridge Racer is, like I said, as well as Moto2 and Grand Prix, Ridge Racer is a lot prettier. And I guess because the driving is more conventional on Ridge Racer, it's a bit easier to play. But this game is really solid. Genuinely really solid. And I don't normally care about anti-grav racers, but genuinely, this is brilliant. This is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant game. And I really suggest playing it if you haven't. Find yourself a cheap copy, get a PC, laptop, emulate it, whatever. But you have to play it at least once. If you don't like it, fair enough. You know, at least you give it a go. But do at least do the decent thing and give it a go. Because I guarantee you will find some joy in it. Well, that's getting close to the end of time now. I mean, I don't really have any more. I've got anything else to talk about, so I'm just going to leave it there. Saves me waffling. If you like the video, and I really hope you do consider subscribing. It will let me know that my efforts are not wasted. And if you like these kind of videos, do leave a like on the video, because if you leave a like, I know that you want to see more. Let me know as well if you prefer the way this one, you know, the one I've actually tried with. Yeah, do let me know. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. If you like video, subscribe, like, whatever. I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be.